Since the inception of the UFC, a large proportion of the greatest MMA fighters in history have competed for the ultimate prize in combat sports, a UFC title. For fighters like GSP and Anderson Silva, the conquering of this landscape is what cements their legendary status among fans and peers alike. However, in each weight class, truly fantastic fighters have failed to claim the most sought-after belt in MMA. Today, at MMA Trending, we are going to look at the best fighters never to win a UFC title in each weight division. So let's jump right in with the first fighter on our list. Number 1, women's strawweight, 115 pounds, Claudia Gadelha. Gadelha is capable in all areas of a fight, with a second-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu and striking founded on Muay Thai. Claudia has entered 22 professional fights, winning 18 of those, while managing to finish half of the opponents she has beaten. Her diverse skill set is shown by the 7 submissions and 2 knockouts she has amassed during that time. In 2013, she was due to face Carla Esparza for the Invicta FC title, but pulled out with gastroenteritis. She then fought Joanna for the crown in 2016. Although losing against the greatest strawweight in history, many believed she had done enough to win the contest. Claudia has been competing against the best in the world for some time now and has never looked out of her depth. Number 2, men's flyweight, 125 pounds, Joseph Benavidez. Joseph Benavidez epitomizes the concept of a great fighter who never managed to capture the crown. In his case, he has shared his career with some of the greatest fighters ever to compete in his weight class. Earlier in his career, fighting for WEC, he twice lost to the incredible Dominic Cruz. Upon joining the UFC, Benavidez continued to compete at the highest level. Twice he fought for gold at 125 pounds, falling short each time to another great in Demetrius Johnson. As recently as July 2020 at Fight Island in Dubai, he once again fell short of the ultimate prize after losing to Deiveson Figueiredo. Having been at the top end of MMA for almost a decade, Joseph is a clear choice for the best 125-pound fighter never to win a title. Number 3, women's bantamweight, 135 pounds, Cat Zingano. Cat Zingano is another fighter who has competed at the highest level in MMA for a considerable time. Cat challenged Ronda Rousey for the belt at UFC 184, however she was quickly submitted, leaving her hopes of glory in tatters. Despite this devastating loss, Zingano has shown that she is able to compete with some of the greatest fighters on the planet. In 2013, she defeated the future champion Miesha Tate. In 2014, she claimed the scalp of the widely considered greatest of all time in women's MMA, Amanda Nunes. Having defeated such wonderful athletes, she is deserving of inclusion among the best to ever do it. It is hard to think of a better female fighter never to win the 135-pound strap. Number 4, men's bantamweight, 135 pounds, Uriah Faber. This is one of the easiest weight classes to choose a deserving fighter for the accolade. Uriah has been competing at the very highest level of MMA for 14 years. Faber originally won a WEC title in 2006, holding it for 2 years. Having lost to Mike Brown, he would go on to challenge twice more for that strap. Although losing to Cruz while in the UFC, Cruz is widely regarded as the greatest 135-pound fighter ever to compete, so having a victory against him speaks volumes about Faber's quality. He also challenged Aldo for the 145-pound strap and defeated Cub Swanson and Jens Pulver. All this makes Faber the easy choice for best fighter never to win the belt at bantamweight. Number 5, men's featherweight, 145 pounds, Chad Mendes. Chad is straight out of the alpha male classroom. A senior member of the team, along with Uriah Faber, he has forged a successful career at the highest level at 145 pounds. Most notably, he twice competed against the dominating champion Jose Aldo. Although losing the first fight to a thunderous knee to the head, the second fight was actually very close. Many people within the industry actually scored the fight in Chad's favor. Not only that, he took Conor McGregor for the interim title on 2 weeks' notice. Nobody had given the Irishman so much trouble, and he dished out a lot of punishment while draining his gas tank. It is hard to think of a better fighter at 145 pounds never to win the UFC fight strap. Number 6. Men's lightweight, 155 pounds, Tony Ferguson. Until his recent loss to Justin, Tony Ferguson was still considered by many to be the best lightweight in the world. Despite the dominance of Khabib and the fact that he already held the title, many refused to crown him as the best until he fought Ferguson. Before the stunning loss to Justin, Tony had amassed 12 straight victories in the UFC while remaining undefeated for 8 years. The fact that this division is full of absolute killers and Tony has been competing against the elite for so long means it would be hard to put anyone else ahead of El Cucuy. Number 7. Men's welterweight, 170 pounds, Nick Diaz. There are many amazing UFC fighters who currently compete or used to compete at 170 pounds. Much like the 155-pound division, this weight class can also be described as Murderer's Row. Although he never won the UFC title, it would be unfair to suggest that he did not deserve to. Before joining the UFC, Diaz was the champion in Strikeforce. One of the things that makes Nick Diaz a fan favorite is the willingness to fight rather than simply compete. With superior jiu-jitsu, he could easily have chosen to submit Paul Daley, instead choosing to go toe-to-toe with Semtex. Furthermore, he fought against GSP and Anderson Silva, with neither fighter being able to get close to taking him out, which makes Diaz as viable a choice as any for best uncrowned 170-pound fighter in history. Number 8. Men's middleweight, 185 pounds, Dan Henderson. Many MMA fans who only began following the sport over the last 5 years will not realize what an impressive career Dan Henderson had. When Strikeforce, Pride, and the UFC all had a share of the best fighters in the world, Dan Henderson was widely considered one of the best in the game. Not only was he the last Strikeforce light heavyweight champion, but the last middleweight and welterweight champion in Pride too. He lost his 205-pound UFC title fight against Rampage Jackson and his 185-pound title fight against Anderson Silva. Finally, much later in his career, he was able to get another shot at the middleweight title, losing a close match with Michael Bisping. This is unquestionably one of the greatest careers never to include a UFC belt. Number 9. Men's light heavyweight, 205 pounds, Alexander Gustafsson. To start this one off, it is important to note that John Jones and Daniel Cormier are the most dominant champions in 205-pound history. At the peak of their powers, no man gave either fighter more trouble than Alexander Gustafsson. His fight against Jones was one of the best title fights in history, and many still argue that the Mauler should have been given the decision. DC also speaks of how unpleasant it was to fight Gustafsson. With little doubt about the greatest light heavyweights in history, there can be no question about the best fighter never to win the UFC 205-pound strap. Number 10. Men's heavyweight, plus 205 pounds, Alistair Overeem. Alistair Overeem might be the most nailed-on choice of this entire list. The accolades of this incredible athlete reach far and wide. Beyond that, he has competed for over 20 years, debuting in 1999. Much of that time was spent residing in the highest echelons of combat sports. Despite never winning a UFC belt, he has accrued many titles in his career. He is the former Strikeforce heavyweight champion, the former Dream HW champion, the former K1 World Grand Prix champion, and one of 2 fighters to hold world titles in MMA and K1 kickboxing at the same time. Having defeated many of the best fighters in UFC history, he lost to Stipe Miocic, falling just short of the full collection. Well, that is it for our list. We hope you enjoyed the video. Like the video and subscribe for more daily MMA content.